Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Doku has some things he'd like to say to people, and knowing such a wallflower that he is, and he doesn't like to put his information out there, I've talked him into mentioning one or two things. And just in case you feel the urge to, stay till the end. I think you'll appreciate the pictures. Doku, all yours, man.
Oh boy, yeah, those pictures, that'll be fun. So, so yeah, this I know plenty of people have probably already heard about the whole vaccine passports. We will get to that because that is what this conversation will ultimately be about. But let's start off with laying some groundwork real quick because over the past 4 years, the term fascism and Yahtzee, everybody knows what that means, has been thrown around with no real clear definition. It's basically word candy at this point in time for people with dissenting opinions that they don't like or disapprove of. So let's start with the basic fundamentals of what a fascist state is. On the one hand, you have a collectivist group. Yeah, this is where people get statism and nationalism mixed up. The difference between the two is when you live in a statist society or a fascist society, you're putting the well-being of the state as a collective over the whole of the individual. That is a fundamental difference between what you would say nationalism is. Yes, you do want the collective benefit of the nation to be above that of other nations, but you're still not putting the collective citizens or individual that make up that nation and their well-being above that of the state. It's a fundamentally different mindset, and that needs to be defined and moving forward into this conversation. That, and then you have to look at the economic aspects where you have the combination of the state and industry, be it the free market on the consumer aspect, on the production aspect, et cetera, et cetera. We can obviously look to the 1920s, 1930s Germany to see examples of this, or from the more statist aspect of things, you can look to Mussolini's Italy. So having those ideas clearly defined and set, let's get into what this whole COVID vaccine passport thing is going on is. This is where I get to say I told you so. 15 days to flatten the curve turned into 1 year of mass cult and fear mongering. And as Fox News would put it, people are desperate for the freedom that it would bring back. Oh, you mean the freedom to move around and engage in businesses? Now, bear in mind, the government is saying this is not mandatory, but they are pressuring the free market to go forward with this type of vaccine passport idea, the papers, please idea, in order to make people more comfortable. They don't have to wear masks. They don't have to be afraid. Look, everybody's been vaccinated. We can prove it. Essentially, what you're doing is you're taking away people's freedom of movement, freedom to engage in business and commerce, again, through government pressure, because they couldn't pass a law like this in the United States. It'd be unconstitutional. So they're using the free market to circumvent that little piece of paper problem. Yeah, that thing that founded the basis for our country. And they're forcing people to infringe upon the rights and freedoms of others through fear mongering, 1 year worth of it, so that they can finally take off the mask and go back to the quote, quote, new normal. So, another way to put it is they're selling your freedoms back to you for the price of verification with obedience. That's what's going on here. That is putting the collective whole above that of the individual. That is not how this country was founded. There is a reason that we have the Bill of Rights, the Constitution exists to limit the powers of government from doing this very thing. So what does the government do? Well, they arguably have overstepped their boundaries. We already saw that the Supreme Court of Michigan, I believe it was, told Whitmer that her executive powers to put in place emergency orders has expired and she can't do it, and she turned around and did it anyways. You also saw this in the state of New York, the state of California. There is no major repercussions for this, not from the courts and very little from the constituency, because in those states, the constituency happens to think government is the solution. That is what they've been conditioned to believe, and they're willing to give up freedom for safety. That is the mindset that has been fostered over the past year. This is where I get to say I told you so. This was never going to go away. It was never about the virus. It was never about protecting the weak and the vulnerable. If that was the case, we wouldn't be talking about nursing home deaths now, would we? That same government you're looking to provide you with this freedom and security. All for the small cost of what? Getting a vaccine for a virus that hasn't broken a 5% fatality rate, and again, verification with obedience. They got you to wear a mask for 1 year. What made you think they weren't going to do this? If you could not see the writing on the wall that there is going to be a papers, please style implementation put in place, I don't know what to tell you. You clearly weren't paying attention. This was the goal the entire time. Dr. Fauci himself says it's time for you to just do as you're told. It doesn't matter if you willingly want to wear a mask or willingly will go out of your way to not put yourself or others at risk. No, that's not what the goal is. The goal is to make you subservient and obedient to authority. That was always the end goal. I don't care what anyone says. That is exactly what the intended purpose for this was. It was bad enough when Donald Trump got elected and the establishment got their power challenged. There is a reason that this is all moving forward so quickly. In the words of Google, we want to prevent another Trump situation. What led to Donald Trump? People being fed up with the establishment, Republican versus Democrat, the old guard versus old guard, the uniparty nonsense that everybody likes to talk about. Trump was a rejection of the established power structure that we had in this country. It was a result of people having freedom of choice, freedom of thought. Why do you think that they want to control the media so bad? Why do you think they go after independent media? Why do you think they go after social media? Why do you think fact checking became this huge thing and they had to put warning labels on every single tweet and every single YouTube video? It's because they don't want people thinking for themselves or challenging the narrative, because it's about obedience and adherence to authority. That's what the mask culture was. That's what this vaccine passport is. End of story. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's under the guise of, it's for your own safety. It's for the public interest. It's for the greater good. That's inherently a fascistic idea. Your freedom means less than the well-being of the collective whole and the state. The price is obedience to the state at the cost of your personal freedom. Freedom to think, freedom to move, freedom to assemble, freedom to engage in commerce. You can only do that now if you have a passport to prove that you've been vaccinated, to prove that you believed in the mask cult, believed in the mask culture, and believed this pandemic, which is now endemic according to the World Health Organization. Guess what? We're going to have a mask season along with flu season. That's what that means. This was all done for that explicit purpose. It reconditions people to believe the narrative and not question what they're told. Do as you're told. As Dr. Fauci would so wonderfully say, as Governor Whitmer, as Governor Cuomo, Governor Newsom. This is irresponsible. You can't let people go around and do these things that they might not wear a mask. They might put other people at risk. Well, if you're at risk, maybe you could just stay home, or maybe you should wear a mask. Maybe wash your hands. Maybe use some disposable gloves. No, we can't have that. It's too risky. Your freedom is too risky. You have to adhere to the authority, do as you're told, and it's for your own good and for the good of everyone around you. You can't go visit your dying grandma, or you can't have Thanksgiving dinners with more than 10 people. Well, we're going to have to send the cops to your house to make sure that you don't do that, because you're breaking the rules. You're not adhering to the authority.
Doku, one thing, dude. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's gone from it's for your own good and it's for the good of others too. It's only for the good of others. They don't care if it's for your good. What matters is it's for the, air quotes, greater good. And after all, you might not be part of the greater good. Just something to think about.
And that's the other thing for all these other people that are out there saying, like, well, if you're not wearing a mask, you're putting me at risk, and therefore you could be putting my family at risk, and this, that. For all you know, I can't wear a mask. What you're asking me to do is give up my own freedoms, my own freedom of choice, my own freedom to engage in commerce, my own freedom to travel, without Big Brother breathing down my neck, because you feel unsafe. You want me to give up my freedoms to make you feel safe. What does that sound like? That's totalitarianism. Where does that lead? I guarantee you it's not what the Constitution was written for, nor was it what the Bill of Rights had in mind. It's the exact opposite. But yet here we are. And people just thought, well, it's only for 15 days. It's only for 30 days. It's because we have these. Look, it's spreading so rapidly. Again, still hasn't broken 5% fatality rate. The majority of those actually came from mismanagement by the government. That same government that you now look to ensure your safety. This is what people have been conditioned to believe. People are actually desperate enough that they'll go along with it. Why? Because they don't want to wear a mask for another fucking year. Their will has been successfully broken. They would rather take the vaccine, get their vaccine passport so they can go see a concert in uh, Times Square or Madison Square Garden, wherever the fuck it is. They're more willing to do that just so they don't have to deal with this bullshit anymore, rather than preserve the fact or preserve their own ability to actually engage in these activities, as they should have been allowed to do this entire time. The government has successfully broken the will of half the people through fear mongering and through mandates that were technically unconstitutional to begin with. Again, I told you so.
Does it feel good saying that? I just got to ask.
It does. It really does. It's, you know, those things where you hate to be right, but you get the chance to say, fuck you, I was right.
I call that most days, but yeah.
It feels good in the worst possible way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vindication, I think, is the proper term.
Yeah. Hey, as long as it makes you feel better, that's what matters. So it's, this world's going great. I don't see that there's any problem as long as you promise not to look at what's really going on. Sound about right?
Yeah, if you want to put your head in the sand and just do as you're told, listen and believe, then yeah, it's going perfect. It's going perfectly peachy.
They did try and teach us that listen and believe before all of this went off. So how long have they been planning this? That's the question.
I would say it's somewhat by design, but it's also kind of organic, because if you look at the mindset of the individuals that have gone through this sort of, listen and believe, this whole identity politics, collectivisms type of personality, these people are inherently reliant upon the collective in order for their own self-validation. They're not individual thinkers. They're not free thinkers. They go with the group. They're like a school of fish. Alone, they're afraid of sharks that don't exist. Hey.
Yep.
And you got a super chat from Penoid.
All yours.
What you don't understand, they want your guns and freedoms to make it safe for corporations. This country has been taken over back in the 80s. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. That's the reason that the government is not actually going forward with this vaccine passport idea by using legislation, but instead they're trying to use the free market and the power of corporations to actually enforce what would normally be an unconstitutional law. And most people aren't thinking of it that way, because, the same people that were screaming, bake the cake, bigot, thinking that a private entity doesn't have the right to do these types of things, are the same people now saying that private entities should have the right to do these types of things. And the hypocrisy and the double standards is astonishing. But that's ultimately what's happening here, is the government is pressuring the free market in order to informally pass restrictive laws for the sake of control. That's what it boils down to. It's for the sake of control and obedience. Now, bear in mind, I guarantee you, and this will be a mark my words thing, because a month, maybe 6 months from now, maybe it's a year from now, there will be another moment where I can say, fuck you, I was right. I told you so. All of the major corporations, all your Walmarts, your Costco's, your Targets, Amazons, they'll all go forward with this whole vaccine passport thing. Why? Because they don't fucking care. It'll actually make life easier for them due to government pressure. All the small privately owned businesses, independent business owners, mom and pop shops, all the ones that don't go forward with this, you'll start seeing them get slapped with fines. You'll start seeing restrictions get put on them. Just like it happened with the lockdowns. We already saw padlocks being put on people's doors, shutting down their businesses, getting fined. In some cases, the business owners actually going to jail, having to pay exorbitant amounts through court fees to fight the state. You'll see that same shit happen again. But this time it won't be for choosing to follow lockdown orders, which should have expired, but the fucking courts never enforced it. It'll be because they refuse to go forward with this whole COVID vaccine passport, and therefore they are a threat to the society, a threat to the greater good, the health. They're going to start a new outbreak of COVID 2.0, COVID 20 instead of COVID 19. You're going to see that shit happen.
Unfortunately, you're probably right with that one. But hey, as long as we keep on, just not looking at what's going on, just listening to the government, because after all, we can trust everything the government ever want to do, can't we?
And that's the thing. The other thing you have to realize about this is the large multinational corporations, the ones that, are a collective group of people but are treated as a single entity under the courts. They're in lockstep with the government as well. There's a reason that you look at between large corporations, large media conglomerates, and then government groups, and then NGOs and fundraising entities. They all exchange hands. They all eat at the same lunch table. They all share the same fork. They're all one and the same. They all operate in lockstep for their own personal self-interest. That's what they do. The government has essentially become a business working in tandem with the actual free market corporations that essentially run the vast majority of our markets. Because they're the big fish, they're the whales. They have the ability to actually enact social change simply because they're so fucking big. Can you imagine what would happen to the vast majority of people if a Walmart all of a sudden shut down and they couldn't shop there? I guarantee you they're not gonna care a whole hell of a lot about their private medical information being stored on an app on their fucking phone that anybody could hack, simply so they could go in and buy like a $5 20-pack can of fucking tuna.
Yeah.
They will choose convenience over what will be a precedent showing that they're willing to give away their freedoms for the sake of safety and convenience. That's what's happening right now.
And to think, all those soldiers back in World War II that went out there, tried to defend the freedoms of the countries, and this is what we've got nowadays. They must be spinning in their graves, just looking at this modern society and how it is.
Well, and again, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, like the whole listen and believe thing.
Mm-hmm.
This mindset and this mentality does stem from collectivism, identitarianism, whatever you want to call it. It's that you as an individual are weak. Your personal freedoms do not matter. What you need to do is you need to be part of the group whole. You need to believe everyone, believe all those who at least are lockstep with you. All of the detractors, all of those who threaten the collective, are enemies, and there's a reason they lash out against them with such vitriol. Is because if you start breaking them down, take them apart piece by piece, individually they are weak. They were never taught to be strong. They were never taught to think for themselves. They were never taught how to face adversity. What they do is they have to beat you into submission, either through, I believe it was actually Shoe on Head that said this. She was trying to get someone deplatformed from Twitter, and she was saying she doesn't care if it's through bullying or something, or like even lies. They're willing to tell lies about you in order to get rid of you, because if you exist and you're a threat to the collective, you are enemy number one. It doesn't matter what they have to do. They have no morality. They have no line they're not willing to cross. All that matters to them is that all threats to the collective whole must be destroyed by any means necessary in order to preserve the group. This is a very, very easy type of mindset to manipulate by people who are either exorbitantly wealthy or in positions of power. Put those two guys at the same table together, and you have a gaggle of useful idiots that will never even realize how easily manipulated they really are, and that none of this is actually for their good. It's a misconception amongst these people where they think this is all for the greater good. It's for my well-being and my neighbor's well-being and Sally Sue with the green hairs down the streets, for him, her, it, zer, whatever the hell. It's for all of our collective well-being, from all of the flyover country hillbilly Nazi bigots, or so they believe. When in fact, they're the ones that are actually engaging in the most fascistic Nazi-like tendencies out of everybody in this society.
I'm shocked. Really, I am. You can tell.
I can
Absolutely
hear it.
horrified. Yes, good.
Yeah, that's the great irony, and that's why I wanted to start off with defining fascism and statism, because these people will look at not wearing a mask or not going along with what the collective tells you to do, not joining the cult. Yeah, we used to call social justice warriors were a cult. Now the mask thing has become a cult. Like, God forbid you have asthma and you actually can't wear a mask. It's like, no, you're just being selfish.
I Hey Jesse, I watched a thing on YouTube recently. It was one of those gotcha to Karens. It was I think a security guard. His mask, the pattern on it looked like it was only covering the mouth, not the nose. Though the full mask went all the way up, completely covering the face. Okay, it's very important. He was covered, he was legal, but it looked like he wasn't. And she went into one. It was very much a case of, how dare you not wear a mask properly? What the hell do you think you're doing? He's like, I am. I'm wearing a mask. She's carried on. She's carried on. And then I completely agree. Most definitely they should. He pulled down his mask, and the look on in her eyes, because obviously you couldn't see the rest of her face, was one of, oh my God. Then, with most people would be like, oh, okay, you got me, well done. No, no, not her. How dare you wear a mask like that? So I suppose you think it's funny.
Oh
And
my
she,
God.
yes, she didn't even see the humor in the gotcha.
I
It's sad.
that is pretty good though. That is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I, I know the local Karen probably didn't. It's bad for my blood pressure. See, it's actually that's a funny segue. It's a good thing you bring that up. You'll notice that these types of individuals, they have they have no concern for other people. They're actually very, very selfish. They might try to soapbox and stand on this ground of like um, moral superiority. At the end of the day, no, they're actually the most selfish people on the face of the fucking planet. Half the reason they join these outrage mobs or try to find this, collective group, the joke is they all have their side of their head shaved and they all have like 20 billion piercings and weird tattoos that look like they got done when they were like 15 at some underground tattoo parlor. Like, they all have the same look because they have no individuality. They're terrified of the idea. They don't want to be singled out because not only are they cowardly, but if you attack one, they know the rest of the group will attack them back, or will attack whoever is criticizing them or coming after them.
Yeah.
Because they're selfish. They don't care about the opinions of other people. They don't care about the differences that might exist within their own group. That's why they're so quick to eat their own. They're selfish and they're cowardly. That's the easiest way I can put it. And you see it with the way they interact with uh, people not wearing a mask or wearing a mask the wrong way or not wearing two masks. Nothing to do with nothing to do with you. They don't care if you had the vaccine. They don't care if you tested negative. They don't care if you can't wear a mask. No, it's all about them.
I'm curious. Okay. Based on the fact that you have to wear a mask when you go out and to go into shops, okay, I'm all right with that. The main reason is I don't have to smell my neighbours, and trust me, that is a good thing. But I would like to know your opinion on, and here I look at our dear heroic Fauci and go, you got to wear two masks. Your opinion, please.
Aside from well, I mean, it's stupid. It's. I think I forgot where I was saying this. Well, like, if you have breathing complications, you shouldn't be wearing a mask. Period. You shouldn't be wearing a mask while you're in your car alone driving. You shouldn't be wearing a mask while you're outside. It
Yeah,
If you're social distancing, you probably shouldn't be wearing a mask because it'd be completely unnecessary. Oh, but we're gonna wear two. So you're going to restrict your breathing more. And oh, by the way, touch a surface and you're not wearing disposable gloves, you don't immediately clean your hands, you go to touch your face. Fauci even said this. So, hey, YouTube, this is Fauci, not me. You touch your face, you fiddle with the mask, you take the mask off, you don't dispose of it or you don't clean it. All those germs that are on your hands, they will survive on the surface of that mask. And guess what? That's right up to your face. It serves as an incubator. So, all the moisture and the heat from your breath coming out that gets caught up in the mask that now has germs on its surface, potentially the virus that it's supposed to be preventing. Guess what? You just increased your chances of contracting it.
It's good, isn't it?
That's normally why when people wear a mask in a medical setting, you do it to prevent your own spittle and particulates from escaping your body and landing on a surface that's been sterilized and then contaminating it, and you have to go through and sterilize the whole room again. Little spoiler warning: the gas station, the grocery store, your car door, almost every door you're going to touch is not sterile. There are germs living on the surface. So your mask is probably not going to do you as much good as you think it is. Now, I mean, maybe if you're like a hardcore germaphobe and you have disposable gloves in your pocket and you have a hand sanitizer on you and you change you throw away your mask and grab a new one every single time you touch your face, like, yeah, okay, you're a walking sterilization unit. Yeah, maybe then it'll have a significant impact if the people around you are doing the same.
So everyone should do exactly what they're told. That way, everyone will be safe. This is what you're trying to say to me?
I mean, if they want to make every space that any human being is going to interact in, that is, aside from themselves at least, if they want to make that a sterile space, okay, yeah, maybe masks will actually do a little bit of good. But walking into a gas station just because you're wearing a mask's probably not going to adjust your risk of exposure or contraction all that much, if it does any good at all.
I think they need to give out free NBC suits. That'll deal with the problem.
Well, you know another thing. I had a question. I asked this question on Twitter. Have you seen a trash bin that's for masks or disposable gloves?
I did see it, and no, I haven't. In fact, the only place I've ever seen anything like that is in a hospital.
Yeah, I was curious about that. If everything was so infectious, it was so deadly, and we have to literally wear a mask every time we walk out of the frickin' house. Otherwise, we can risk contracting and or spreading a virus that still has a broken 5% fatality rate. Why aren't there biohazard bins that are changed every 30 minutes out front of every high foot traffic area, every Walmart, every Target, every Costco, every gas station, every grocery store? Like, you would expect to see that, wouldn't you?
You would.
It's kind of one of those things that seems really simple that I feel has gotten overlooked. If the pandemic was this, well, endemic now, again, World Health Organization, YouTube, not my words. WHO said it. If it was so deadly as we've been led to believe, why don't you see that? I think that would probably be step number one.
That costs too much. It's easy to let people die.
Well, I guess if you live in a state of New York, that approach is probably.
Hello, Mr. X. How are you? And I completely agree. Having the mask mandate end does sound like a damn good idea. Don't you agree?
I agree, and I think it should have ended a whole lot sooner. The reason it won't goes back to my point. They want you desperate to make it end so that you'll go ahead and go forward with whatever new authoritarian policy that they put in place is. In this case, it would be put your medical information on a phone using a third-party service and let a complimentary third-party service provided app scan said information to prove that you've been vaccinated, which kind of goes against HIPAA laws, but well, we'll see how they deal with that minor inconvenience.
I've told you before, all of these laws are just suggestions. I mean, Memes of Destruction said it, right? Pretty much since I first met him. When it comes to laws like the amendments, etc., they're just suggestions, guys.
Uh, that is a common mentality, though.
That's the problem. It is. I think he was joking when he said it. I hope he was joking when he said it. But nowadays, it's become a common thing. I'm just going
Yeah,
to ask, what is going on? Seriously? Okay, I know a lot of people are doing the stop this world, I want to get off. No, no. We are looking for an asteroid to crash into us. Please. Just do it. It'll get it over and done with and it'll make life so much easier.
and that's the thing. I want to stick around into the end just so I can psychoanalyze exactly how we got here. Like, or well, not psychoanalyze the people who allowed the situation to get to this point. The situation itself is relatively straightforward. It's kind of ironic that you get labeled a conspiracy theorist for pointing out something so insanely fucking obvious. I'll use another example just to draw a parallel to this. This is the same thing that the gun control advocates are pushing. So we already have background checks. That exists. There's no way around it. There have been plenty of reporters that try to say, I could just walk into a Walmart and buy a firearm as easy as can buy a loaf of bread. Yeah, your background check got declined. Whoopsie. So background checks exist. And they say like, oh, well, this shooter did it with a legally obtained firearm, and this shooter did it with a legally obtained firearm. Ah, yes. Let's see, in the case of the Vegas shooting, and then the case of the more recent one in Colorado, and in the case of Parkland, the FBI and the local, well, in the case of Parkland, the FBI and the local police, but in the other two cases, the FBI was aware that these individuals were technically risky. So the fact that the FBI was aware of these individuals, had been informed that they might have some nefarious intentions planned for some point in the future, and maybe not the most mentally stable individual in the world. In the case of the Colorado shooter, was a ISIS sympathizer, openly admitted it, and yet they still passed a background check. Do you think passing more laws is actually going to fix that, or is it a case of the FBI isn't doing their fucking job? How about we try enforcing the laws that are already on the books? Because I'm pretty sure if you can be put on a no-fly list, the gun background check's probably a little more, intensive. Probably looked at with a little more scrutiny, or at least one would think. But apparently, that's not the case. So, I would make the argument that this is actually a failure to enforce laws that are already on the books. But of course, they'll take these incidences and run with it. And the end result will be every single law-abiding citizen is going to have to give up a little bit more of their freedoms because a criminal decided to break a law. In this case, it would be murder. Pretty sure that's already illegal. But this is the mindset of we need to make the world safer and a better place, and because this bad thing happened, then everybody else needs to give up their freedoms because bad people do bad things and criminals don't inherently follow laws. But we need to pass more laws and make everybody more obedient, more subservient, more reliant upon government because that'll make me feel safer. And that's the operative term. It will make people feel safer. You know what it won't do? It won't actually make them safer. Wearing a mask is not going to make you safer. COVID actually will mutate. You'll end up having to get a new vaccine at some point in the future when that inevitably does happen. Passing new gun laws will not prevent gun crime. Passing laws will not prevent criminals from committing crimes. We had that one incident in DC where two girls carjacked a dude and that guy ended up dying. Passing laws against carjacking is not going to stop things like that from happening. What we have is a societal problem. And a big part of this societal problem is that people do not want to take responsibility or accountability, or they completely disregard it altogether, which empowers them to go out and do irresponsible things that puts the lives of other people around them at risk. Government is not the solution. In fact, I would argue that reliance upon government and looking to a government entity to solve these problems for you actually creates a larger problem because it absolves people of accountability and responsibility, thus allowing crazies a little bit more freedom to act fucking crazy. Because they expect that somebody's going to come and save you. They don't want to do it themselves. They don't want to accept that this is sort of the risk you take. Well, this is the risk you take by existing. You could walk outside and a rock falls from the sky, or an icicle falls off the shingles, or there's a sinkhole. Who knows? A volcano could go off. Some country could decide to bomb you. Some 15-year-old girl could decide to carjack you and then drive you into the side of a freaking concrete barricade. You could catch the flu and die. You could eat some bad food and get food poisoning and shit your brains out until you die of dehydration. There's a lot of things that can kill you. You know what's not going to solve any of these risks that you take by simply existing while alive? Government rules and regulations.
But the government, how can you say that? They are the people that will save us from everything. They're glorious.
And that's the thing that drives me nuts about these people. They don't realize that the government is just a group of people that are deciding what's good for the collective whole. They're the ones telling you what you can and can't do. You know who I trust more than the government? I trust more than the cops. I trust more than the fire department or anybody else.
Yourself?
I trust myself more.
Yeah.
I think I'm perfectly fine to know what to eat. I think I can defend myself perfectly fine with a firearm. I'm obviously not a criminal, so I'm not going to go out. I'm not a risk to myself or others. I know how to drive. I've only gotten in 2 accidents before in my entire life, both which were not my fault. Yeah, I kind of trust myself more than I do almost every other fucking person on the planet.
I'm okay with that. And Mr. Yes, no matter what happens, people still blame Trump even beyond death. And that is true. You know, there are people out there that actually claim he, and I'm not joking, they claim he created COVID just as a way of causing problems. And if this gets us shut down, I don't care.
Yeah, and that is, I have seen people try to make similar statements like, oh, this is all Trump's fault. You should blame Trump. Oh, you mean the guy that tried to bring back everybody from China, then shut down travel to China, tried to get those people back from the Diamond Princess, a good amount of them actually who didn't want to leave because they're like, oh no, I get a free cruise, I'm just going to stay on the cruise ship. And then once they got back to the United States, they were placed under quarantine on a fucking military base. What else did he do? He also mobilized 2 hospital ships, of which never got used. Well, not for COVID at least. He also ordered production of ventilators, production of masks, sent them out at record time, and the one who ordered the development of the vaccine to prevent this in the first place. You know who shut down all the economies? Local state governors, state mayors. Fauci played a role in that too. Yeah, even Fauci was saying earlier, back before this whole thing started, or before we got to the point that we're at now, well, it's no worse than a flu. You don't need to wear a mask. Trump shutting down travel is irresponsible and reckless and blah, blah, blah. And then notice how that tune changed real quick as soon as it got over and they had a large enough outbreak to point to and say, oh my God, look, it's so infectious. We need to shut everything down. And then they turn around and say, well, it's Trump's fault for not doing this. He did everything that the federal government can do. What you're kind of ignoring here is the federal government does not supersede state rights in certain areas. In this case, it would be you can't lock down the entire fucking country without declaring the equivalent of martial law. something Trump avoided, kind of the same way he avoided sending in the National Guard when Portland and Seattle were burning for 6 months straight, and everybody was wondering why. Because it sets a precedent of use of authoritarian power when the state should be the one to do that. It's actually a brilliant strategy if you think about it. Trump doesn't act in an authoritative way. Well, blame Trump.
Mhm.
Trump does act in an authoritative way. Oh, well, he's a tyrant and this and that, but it also sets a precedent where they can now act in an authoritative way when they inevitably regain power, i.e., had Trump sent in the National Guard while Portland was burning. Now that Biden's in power, he could do the same thing, which is essentially what you saw in D.C. It just didn't have as much legs to stand on as, trying to lock people inside a police precinct and then setting it on fire.
This world, isn't it absolutely glorious? People sitting there saying that, not, apart from the disease, everything's great in this planet. No, it isn't. Okay. You can pretty much look at almost any government and point out what they're doing that is wrong, which will get you punished for doing it. Not by the government, amazingly. It's not like the old days where it'd be the government would be the ones getting rid of the anarchists. Please put in the air quotes there. No. Now it's, well, the corporations that are doing this. You speak out against anything the government are doing, and suddenly, yeah, you get stamped on by, I don't know, YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, or let's just pretty much add whichever one of the media groups you want to. You're not allowed to speak anymore, people. Just learn your place. There you go, man.
And that's the other thing, is people think it's only the government. And it's like, nope, this is the... I hate to admit, I kind of agree with some of the Bernie bros on this one. Getting money out of politics would actually be a really good thing. Granted, the people that the Bernie bros are supporting are the exact people who profit from having money in politics, so you're kind of being taken for a ride on that one. But no, it would be a good thing for two simple reasons. First off, there wouldn't be as high a barrier to entry. You wouldn't have to be a billionaire to run, or a self-made billionaire to run for any type of political office, because you wouldn't be reliant upon corporate donations and NGOs and super PACs, et cetera, et cetera. And also, by extension, you wouldn't be allowed to use large free market entities or large media conglomerates as essentially the propaganda and economic enforcement arm of your policy. It, again, both aspects that are extremely statist, or as the shaved heads would like to say, literally fascist Hitler Nazi Germany. Yes. Trump was... let's blame Trump, because Trump was such a literally fascist Nazi Hitler that he didn't deploy the National Guard when cities were burning because it overstepped states' rights and would expand the power of federal government. He only shut down travel to international countries, but didn't restrict travel among states because that's overstepping the bounds of the federal government and stepping on states' rights. It's up to them to do. He didn't adhere to any of these NGOs or any of these large corporate super PACs or anything like that, and instead only took $1 and lost 1/3 of his net wealth while getting smeared 24/7 by the media conglomerate, the media machine. All for what? All for trying to not be a statist authoritarian fascist and put the agenda of America and the well-being of American citizens before that of every other country in the world and its citizens, kind of like an elected official should do.
That's just ridiculous. How dare he do what he's meant to do? He should be doing the... no, that don't sound right somehow. That I can actually see them doing that, actually. They're going to be sitting there trying to complain about it and realising, or at least there's going to be a little part of them that is realising, no, actually, he was doing the right thing. At which point, he's in the wrong for not doing the wrong thing, which would have been the wrong thing, and so therefore, I have no idea what they're going to use as an excuse. Does that sound about right to you?
I can tell you exactly what they're going to do because they've already shown that card in their hand multiple times. They're literally going to lie. It, that's what they've done. They've literally lied, or they've well, how should I put this delicately? They will claim that an anonymous source told this source that someone did something allegedly, and then everybody and their grandma will report on it, and then a month later they'll retract it and be like, yeah, we actually couldn't verify the source, and we have conflicting information now to suggest that that actually wasn't true. But the damage is done. That's all that matters. Sort of like the whole thing with Nick Sandman. He he approached a Native American and was intimidating him. Except if you watch the video, the Native American man banging the drum in question was actually egged on by a group of black Hebrew Israelites who were calling all the Covington kids future school shooters and all sorts of other terrible names, and then goaded the Native American man to approach them while the Covington kids were standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial waiting for the bus to come pick them up.
Doku, this one's for you, mate.
If I should be on Nurgle's show state, I've only watched one episode of that so far. If they want to have me on, I'm more than happy to come on. Talking politics is kind of what I do. If it's not that, it's economics, and if it's not that, it's about stupid shit that's completely irrelevant.
Oh, we've got the stupid shit to come up soon. Don't worry.
Oh yes, we do. Oh, I've been rambling, Jensen. I want to hear your take. How does what's going on in the United States currently? How does this look like to an outsider?
First of all, do you want me to be honest? I need you to think about this very carefully, because if you say yes, I will be honest.
Oh no, I want the honest answer.
We are laughing our tits off at it. We think it is hilarious. Equally, doing so, we're also doing our level best to ignore what our governments are up to. I mean, just from the English side, we're not necessarily doing that much better. But to put it bluntly, at least we've got a conservative government and not a bunch of completely useless dick wavers that like to call themselves the Labour Party. Yes, I call them dick wavers. No, I don't care, YouTube. If you want to punish me, go ahead. Right, as I was saying, the whole thing with the Americans is that the rest of the world are laughing at you. I'm sorry. It's bad. And I actually feel for you guys, but they are taking the absolute. We don't want Harry and Meghan back. You can bloody keep them. Sorry, just something needs to be said to Mr. Yes. Right. We are laughing at you guys. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You guys do need to, well, simply put, you took the position of worldwide leader and big dog on the block. You need to actually be the big dog. Get rid of the idiot that you got in charge. Granted, he's not going to make it. Oh, okay, we lost Doku. He's probably not going to make it until the end of the year, let alone the end of his service. And he, by his own definition, he's actually admitting that camel toe. Yep, that's right. I'm calling her that. Camel toe Harris is the president because, to be honest, we all know she is. Okay, you can say what you damn well like. She is going to be taking over. It is what it is. And yeah. Oh, hello, Doku. Welcome back, mate.
Yeah, sorry about that. The internet decided it wanted to drop and restart connection, which always fucks everything up.
Always good for a chuckle. But like I was saying, end result is you lot need to pull your thumb out and actually do something if you want to be the big dog on the block. And America does like to pretend to be the big dog on the block. So good luck. Don't get me wrong, the British will actually help you in general. It's just we're all infested with the liberal morons that. Oh, how Batman? The we're all infested with the liberal morons who like to think they're in charge. I'm just going to be blunt. We need to drag them out in the street and shoot several of them. They'll get the hint eventually.
And just touching on what you're saying, I know the rest of the world is laughing at us because we have the head of another state, one that we like to blame for 4 years for the evil orange man, openly come out and challenge our president to a debate, live debate.
Yeah.
So that's bad enough.
No, no. Say the next part. Come on. Come on. Admit the next part, which is Biden said no. Come
Yeah,
on.
no,
You can do it.
yeah, he said. The thing is, I don't think Biden even knows what the hell is going on because the other part I was going to mention, we have a president while doing live press conferences or doing live briefings or White House videos. Whereas, oh, okay, just should I take questions now, or who do I pass this off to? Just tell me what I need to do. Oh, and then kill the stream. Just nope.
Oh, that was glorious. You did ask how the rest of us feeling about this, so I'm going to tell you. When that came out, that I'm ready to take questions, cut. I'm sorry, he may take the name president, but by any stretch of the imagination, he is not in charge. He can say whatever he likes. And I completely agree with Jesse. Who's in charge here?
And to be honest, the people that are in charge are all very high up in three-letter agencies. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I agree with Mr. Yes. Trump never had any problems with his first press conference nor a cheat sheet. It's true.
Yeah, no, again, people are like, oh, Biden's going to save us. It's like, Biden doesn't even know what state he's in.
You're not wrong. That's actually the disturbing part of this equation. You are not wrong.
Oh, this is another I told you so moment.
Oh,
I said Biden was going to be a Manchurian candidate. He's going to be nothing more than a puppet. Well,
you did.
Well, now we have a president. Just tell me what I need to do. Biden.
Yeah. Oops. Let's not send him that. Batman, in a moment, check your Discord DMs. You'll have the link in there.
But yeah, I wanted your perspective just because I'm laughing at just how absurd this current administration is. Like, from the whole, like, they're gonna storm the Capitol on March 4th. We need to keep the barricades and this and that.
Hey, Batman.
Hello. You know,
What's up, Batman?
There's something else that the world is laughing at America about.
Oh God, what else do we have on the plate?
You've got Princess Harriet and her husband.
Oh God, yeah.
We're not taking them back. I just wanted to state it. You took them. They're your problem now. Bye.
Oh, yes.
I didn't take them. Yeah, I blame Hollywood for that.
No, yeah. I blame MC because MC is, let's face it, he's secretly jealous of the British and the English especially.
Also, I agree with Goatman. Yeah, Joe Biden doesn't even know he's Joe Biden half the time. He thought he was Joe Biden's wife.
Joe Biden's actually he's brought out a single.
Oh God!
I could while away the hours conversing with the flowers if I only had a brain.
Yeah. The problem is, I'd actually believe it if they said he did bring this out. I mean, let's be completely blunt here. This guy is the world's first brain donor surviving.
Oh,
Yes, Joe Biden actually has a support animal. It's called a thinking brain dog.
Yeah, Kamala.
You mean Carl Malden?
Yeah, camel toe. Just seriously, that is so much easier. She wants to call me racist for calling her camel toe.
Well,
No, I'm not getting your name wrong, love. I'm
no,
calling
you're
you
not being
camel
racist.
toe.
You're not being racist. You're being sexist. Get it right.
Exactly.
I think you're just trying to highlight the. I can't say that.
And
What?
is it a
Face
daughter?
look like a camel toe.
Is
Yeah,
it a
I'm okay
daughter
with
who
that.
puts out the racist anti-white tweets?
Go on.
Yeah, like that shooter recent last week, wasn't it? And she's
The
going,
Colorado one.
oh, yeah, another straight white man. Wrong.
Oh yeah, they said it was going to be a straight white male Trump supporter, and then all it took was a few tweets, and they started writing articles about it, and then the identity of the shooter got revealed, and not a white man, not a Trump supporter.
Yeah,
Do you know
you
what
should be
would have made me
talking
laugh?
about things like that now that we found out he's not a white man. How dare you racist?
Do you know what would have made me laugh? Is if that shooter, being black, right? Not just black, but transgender as well.
Yes, yes.
That would have
been
made
even
it better.
I completely agree with you, Jesse. You just have to listen very carefully.
No, Jesse, I don't agree with you because communism's bad, but let's face it, the people who are real communists, and I mean real communists, they're not idiots. Kamala Harris is an idiot.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's an idiot or if she just lacks a soul.
Yes. No, she's an idiot, not in the fact that she's stupid, but like most people in the West, especially most people who've had a relatively comfortable life, she's mentally lazy. She doesn't have to think, therefore she doesn't think.
Actually, that's true, and I would actually make the argument that Kamala's biggest shortcoming is that she very easily succumbs to both pride and hubris.
I think her biggest shortcoming is actually that problem she has with her respiratory system.
Oh my!
Yeah,
somebody
she's still
did.
breathing.
Somebody did a laugh track compilation of just Kamala Harris laughing, and it is the most horrendously terrible, torturous thing I've ever listened to. I only got through like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like 2.5 minutes long of just Kamala Harris laughing. It's like, no, whoever created that compilation video, you need to go to hell.
I've noticed something about Kamala Harris when you look at her properly. Her face looks like the face that's used on the on the cinematic poster for Fright Night 2.
Oh.
Yeah. And I agree, Goatman. She did claim she's black, even though she's half Caribbean, half Indian. Apparently, something like that. Sound about right, Doku?
She's a Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know one is definitely Indian. I think you're right. I think the other one is Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, Doug. Seeing as that's still largely British territory, it's Caribbean.
Yeah. You got to say it properly, dude.
I don't want to. I'm American. I have to stick to it.
Yes. We know you're a colonial, so we give you allowances for certain things.
Just pointing out that this is what someone from the great far north, Batman, is attempting to teach somebody how to speak properly.
Well, actually,
okay.
I actually can't speak with received pronunciation if I do so wish. I just don't wish because it's an affectation.
I actually accept that.
Yeah, it's got a point.
So, Doku, picture time, do we think?
Unless Batman has something he wants to share.
Yes, but I could probably get arrested for that.
All right, fair enough.
Well,
Sorry.
as I'm sure that we've all taken note, there is a tiny weeny little incident going on in the Suez Canal. You may have heard of it, you know.
Never let an Arab drive a boat. I bet. I know what the words before that transport got stuck were. Go on, Abdul. Let the woman drive.
Oh, it's so funny you say that. Are you ready, Doku?
Yeah, so the anime community, the weeb community, never misses a good opportunity.
But that's positively the good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's more. Don't worry, there's another one. Because the weeb community is apparently never satisfied.
Of course not. And I would like to
A bit
thank
like the
Oz
Nimble
for
community,
sending
that is.
these to me. They are most entertaining. Yes.
Just why? It,
Yeah.
as if the anime community didn't have a bad enough reputation. It only how long do you think it took them? I would say like
30 seconds.
30 seconds to get the idea, but 2 hours to actually capitalize on turning natural disasters into waifus and making it cringy. Like
Hold on, did you just say natural disasters?
this is basically a natural disaster. Fuck it, I don't care.
It's a ship blocking a canal.
Yeah, they did the same
You
thing.
can't get anything more unnatural.
It's
Nope,
true.
Nope. It's a natural disaster. It's caused by humans.
Not a natural disaster. Both
No,
of
when
the things involved, the canal, right,
No,
is an
it's
artificial
unnatural.
construct.
made by humans.
The ship is an artificial construct.
Made by humans.
It got blocked because the person
Humans.
piloting it was an idiot.
Well, yeah, humans. See, it's all.
It's not natural.
It was all caused by
That's-
humans.
that's-
Humans
that's like
naturally
saying-
occurring.
I'm sorry, but that's like saying Chernobyl was a natural disaster.
It technically was. It was caused by humans.
Sid, yes.
No,
And uranium is a naturally occurring substance.
Doku, you realise if we were sitting in a plane right now, you'd be getting quick journey back to Earth.
When I did say that, though, I was actually referring to the fact that they did Corona-chan, and that didn't stop for like what?
I
like
like
a
the one
month.
that-
It's like a month solid of just
I like-
Corona-chan memes.
I like
Yep.
the one that they were kept memeing at the Flat Earth Society. Yeah. Earth
Oh,
Chan,
wait.
I'm not flat.
those are legitimately funny because it actually
Yeah.
pissed off the flat Earth people, which is great. Like I remember going through like Reddit threads and Twitter threads where people were talking about flat Earth, and somebody would just post a fucking Earth Chan meme with big ass tits as
Yep.
the argument. People would freak the fuck out. Like that. It's
If
low
I-
effort trolling, but it's effective.
If I had the money, I'd get one of these models. Yeah, what do you call it, cosplay models to turn up at the Flat Earth convention dressed as Earth Chan. I wonder how shouting I'm not flat.
I'm pretty sure somebody's. I would bet you money somebody's done it.
Yeah.
And yeah, Oz, you're correct. If it exists, there's an anime waifu of it. I know they made one out of a fucking volcano.
Actually, I hear one about Jensen.
It probably exists. There are Tyranid waifus.
Oh, dear God.
Oh yeah, just if you ever get bored one day, you should look that up.
No,
No.
she's not hollow, mister. Yes, but she has plenty of holes.
Ew. But yes, I just thought that you guys deserved to see those pictures because, well, Oz gave them to me, and so you all deserve to see it. And you can all thank Oz for this, so
Thank you, Oz.
all blame goes to him.
What do you mean, blame?
It was good though, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Well, is there anything else anyone wishes to say at this point?
Oh, have you heard?
Go on.
Brie Larson's going to get her role as a Jedi, and it's going to be more powerful than Darth Vader, Luke, or Rey combined.
Oh, I heard about this.
Nobody's
Oh,
going to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh dear God, no.
She's going to be less interesting than that Rock who's a navigator and talks about his sex life. You've heard about that one, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Geode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's disturbing.
That could be worse.
Doku, I'm going to send you a picture. I'm going to let you decide whether or not it needs to be put on. I'll let you pick.
Oh goodness.
Because you know you want to. You know you want to. Are you going to? Yes or no?
Yeah. I'm committed. I'll do it. I don't even know what it is yet, so the audience,
dear Lord.
so the audience is aware. I'm committing to this before I even know what I'm sharing. So,
Assuming he's getting it ready, you will be seeing the new and most dangerous of the Mortal Kombat fighters soon to come out in the new film. Are you ready, Doku?
Oh, Merzel Kumquat.
Oh, you'll see.
oh yeah, just are you going to shoot to me over Discord?
I've already sent it to you, mate. Oh, no, I sent it to Batman, wrong one.
It's Doku.
Okay, I was going to say.
On the uptake.
Let me try this one. Hello. There you go.
Ooh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'd wrestle that one.
I bet you would.
So,
Mortal Kombat, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the new fighters will be wearing. When you're ready, Doku.
It's exactly what my nieces, it's exactly what one of my cousins' daughters wore to the beach last year.
Disturbing. Hello, MC. Absolutely amazing timing, just as the new
Hello,
Mortal Kombat
Muck.
fighter appears. Perfect.
It's Muck. Thought I could hear somebody yelling.
So let's see if YouTube has a problem with this. After all,
hey, you know what? She's wearing face masks.
This is true. This is very, very true.
She's
My
protected.
cousin's daughter wasn't wearing as many face masks as this girl. She didn't have one over her mouth.
Ah,
She's got a bigger chest as well.
that's slightly disturbing. But
Yeah,
yes,
we're gonna get rid of that.
But apparently not as big a chest as MC has.
oh God, will you stop picking on MC? You know that
He likes it.
Yes, but he's 6'10", and he's an interesting crossbreed between Rock Hudson and Clint Eastwood. Now get that mentally.
Yes, he's 6'10", lying down.
Oh dear, you can't say that. It's horrible.
Too late. I just did.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, if there's nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, I will say that this is the end of the show. I hope you had a bit of a chuckle.
And if you've got spare nukes, throw it at France.
Oh, yes. I would point out that if you really want to cure COVID, there is actually a cure that people aren't working out. Nuke Paris, okay? This will cure
and Berlin.
Cure the thing perfectly. Nobody is willing to try it yet, but I have warned them. I've told people. No one's willing to listen.
And Berlin.
Why not? Anyway.
Oh yeah, and Holyrood.
Yes, definitely Newt the Scottish. Okay, I'll speak to you all later, people, and maybe next time, who knows, we'll come up with something even more stupid. Bye, everyone.